12 harsh truths you need to accept to live a happy life. Stoicism philosophy. Life's hardest lessons are often the ones we resist the most, yet they hold the power to shape us into stronger, wiser, and more resilient individuals. Too many people choose comfort over truth, avoiding the realities that could set them free. But true growth comes from facing these harsh truths head-on. Modern Stoicism teaches us that by embracing life's difficulties, we gain the emotional strength and clarity to live with purpose. In today's video on Stoic in Your Life, we'll uncover 12 harsh truths that, once accepted, can transform your mindset and lead to true happiness. Some of these truths might sting, but in facing them, you'll unlock the Stoic secrets to a more fulfilling life. Which of these lessons resonates most with you? Share your thoughts in the comments below and let's embark on this journey together. Number 1. Happiness is a choice. Happiness is not something that just falls into your lap one day, nor is it something that magically appears when everything in your life finally aligns. It's a choice, one that you have to make over and over, again every single day. But the problem is most people don't realize this. We've been conditioned to believe that happiness is something we must chase, something that's always just out of reach. We tell ourselves, I'll be happy when I get that promotion, or I'll finally feel fulfilled once I find the right person, or I'll be at peace when I have more money, a bigger house, a better car. But what happens when you finally get those things? The satisfaction is fleeting. The excitement fades. And before long, you're back on the treadmill, searching for the next thing to fill the void. The truth is, happiness isn't found in achievements, wealth, or even relationships. It's found in the way you choose to see and experience the world around you. The Stoics understood this centuries ago, yet it's still a lesson so many of us struggle to learn. They taught that true happiness isn't about what happens to you. It's about how you choose to respond. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's the key. Strength comes from within, from the ability to control your emotions, your perspective, and your reactions to life's inevitable ups and downs. You can't always control what happens, but you can always control how you respond. Think about it. How often do you let a single bad moment ruin an entire day? How often do you let someone else's words or actions determine your mood? If a stranger cuts you off in traffic, do you spend the next hour fuming about it? If you receive criticism at work, do you dwell on it for days, letting it shake your confidence? What if instead you saw those moments as opportunities to practice patience, resilience, and gratitude? Choosing happiness doesn't mean ignoring life's hardships or pretending everything is perfect. It means developing the ability to find stability and peace within yourself regardless of what's happening around you. It's about shifting your mindset, from focusing on what you lack to appreciating what you have, from dwelling on problems to seeking solutions, from being a passive recipient of life to an active participant in shaping it. When you understand that happiness is a skill, not a destination, everything changes. Instead of waiting for external circumstances to align in your favor, you begin to take responsibility for your own emotional state. You realize that you don't need everything to be perfect to feel content. You don't need to rely on others to feel fulfilled. The more you embrace this mindset, the more you'll see that happiness isn't something you find. It's something you create moment by moment, choice by choice. Of course, this isn't easy. The world constantly tempts us to believe that happiness comes from external success, from validation, from having more. Modern Stoicism reminds us that this is a trap. If you spend your life chasing happiness outside of yourself, you'll never truly find it. But if you turn inward, if you take control of your thoughts, your reactions, and your perspective, you'll discover that happiness was within you all along. So ask yourself, are you waiting for happiness, hoping it will one day arrive? Or Are you choosing it right now in this moment? Because the power to be happy has always been yours. The question is, will you use it? Number 2. Time is your most valuable asset. Time is the one resource we can never replenish, yet most people treat it as if it's infinite. We chase money, status, and possessions, believing they hold the key to happiness, but none of it matters if we squander the limited time we have. The Stoics understood this deeply. Seneca warned, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." His words ring even truer today, in a world where distractions lurk at every corner. Endless scrolling, meaningless obligations, and mindless entertainment pull us away from what truly matters. We claim to be busy, yet much of our time is lost in activities that add no real value to our lives. The harsh truth is this: your time is slipping away, and you must take control before it's too late. What you focus on determines the quality of your life, and if you spend your days on things that don't align with your core values, you will wake up one day filled with regret. The key is intentionality, choosing to spend your time wisely rather than letting it be stolen by things that don't serve you. Every day you are given a finite amount of time, yet most people spend it carelessly, as if they have an unlimited supply. But the reality is that every second that passes is a second you will never get back. The Stoics taught that life should be lived in accordance with nature, meaning we should align our actions with what truly fulfills us. This doesn't mean rejecting all responsibilities, but rather being selective about what deserves your energy. If something drains you, distracts you, or pulls you further away from the person you want to become, then why waste time on it? The way you spend your time is a reflection of your priorities, and the harshest truth is that most people don't even realize they are wasting their lives until it's too late. Think about how often you say, "I don't have time." But is that really true? Or is it that you aren't making time for what actually matters? You have time to scroll endlessly on your phone. You have time to say yes to obligations you don't care about. You have time to chase things that bring no real fulfillment. What you lack is the awareness to see how much time you are actually throwing away. If you don't take control of your time, the world will decide how you spend it, and the world is more than happy to waste it for you. That's why you must fiercely protect your time, because no one else will. When you say yes to trivial distractions, you are saying no to personal growth, deep relationships, and the pursuit of things that bring lasting joy. You cannot buy more time, but you can choose how to use what remains. Productivity isn't the goal. Living fully is. There is no wisdom in being busy for the sake of it. Our modern society glorifies busyness as if it's a badge of honor, but being constantly busy does not mean you are making progress. You can spend your entire life running in circles and never get anywhere. The true measure of a well-lived life is not how much you do, but how much of it actually matters. Instead of trying to do more, focus on doing what's meaningful. Seneca advised, "Begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life." Every day is a chance to align your actions with your values, to say no to what drains you, and to invest in what truly enriches you. This is why the Stoics practiced memento mori, the reminder that death is inevitable and that we must live with urgency. Not in a way that causes anxiety, but in a way that sharpens our focus. If you truly understood how little time you have left, how much differently would you live? Would you still waste hours on things that don't matter? Would you still put off your dreams for some day that may never come? The time you have is slipping away, and every moment wasted is a moment lost forever. The sooner you accept this, the sooner you free yourself from distractions and start living with purpose. In a world that constantly tries to steal your time, the greatest act of self-mastery is to take it back. Time is the ultimate currency, and how you spend it determines everything. So ask yourself, are you living intentionally, or are you letting life slip through your fingers? The answer to that question will shape your entire existence. The Stoic secrets to a meaningful life lie in understanding that time, not wealth, is the true measure of success. Waste it, and you waste your existence. Master it, and you unlock the key to fulfillment. Number 3. You're not as important as you think. You are not as important as you think. That might sound harsh, even unsettling, but it's a truth that has the power to liberate you. We move through life believing that people are constantly watching us, analyzing our words, our choices, and our mistakes. We hesitate before speaking our minds. We alter our behavior to match expectations, and we stress over what others might think of us. But here's the reality. Most people are far too consumed with their own lives, their own problems, and their own insecurities to be paying much attention to yours. They are not scrutinizing your every move because they are too busy worrying about themselves. This isn't to say that you don't matter. Of course you do. But it does mean that the weight you place on others' opinions is far heavier than it needs to be. And the moment you accept this truth, you unlock a new level of personal freedom. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, put it perfectly. It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinions than our own. Think about that. We prioritize how we are perceived over how we truly feel. How often have you held back your true thoughts, forced to smile when you didn't feel like it, or said yes when you wanted to say no, all because you feared being judged? Maybe you've carefully curated your social media presence to look a certain way, or hesitated to share an opinion because you worried about backlash. Each time you let the fear of judgment control your actions, you sacrifice a piece of yourself. You become a version of you that exists not for your own fulfillment, but for the approval of others. And that's exhausting. Modern Stoicism teaches us that our worth is not determined by external validation, but by how well we live in alignment with our values. When you stop chasing applause, you begin to live for yourself. True confidence isn't about being admired. It's about being at peace with who you are, whether people approve of you or not. That doesn't mean disregarding others entirely. It means living in a way that respects both yourself and those around you without bending to the fear of disapproval. There's a delicate balance between being considerate and being controlled by what others think. Learning to walk that line is one of the most liberating things you can do. This lesson is even more critical in today's hyper-connected world, where social media amplifies the illusion that we are constantly being watched. Every post, every comment, every interaction can feel like it's under scrutiny. But the truth is, most people scroll past without a second thought. They might glance, they might judge for a moment, but then they move on. Understanding this allows you to reclaim your time, your energy, and your sense of self. You don't need to perform for an invisible audience because, in reality, that audience is far less invested in your life than you think. You are not on a stage, constantly being critiqued. You are a human being just like everyone else, trying to navigate life in the best way you can. The weight of others' opinions is only as heavy as you allow it to be. And when you finally stop trying to please everyone, you'll experience something that is increasingly rare in the modern world. Freedom. Freedom to be yourself, to pursue what truly matters, and to live with the kind of inner peace that no amount of external validation can provide. If you've ever felt trapped by the weight of others' opinions, it's time to break free. The truth is, people aren't watching you as closely as you think. They're too busy worrying about themselves. Letting go of the fear of judgment is one of the most liberating things you can do. So if you're ready to stop seeking approval and start living for yourself, share your strength by commenting, "I choose freedom," below. Your courage might just inspire someone else to step out of the shadows of self-doubt and embrace their true self. Number 4. Perfection doesn't exist. I used to believe that if I meticulously planned every step, if I ensured every detail was perfect, then success would naturally follow. Maybe you felt the same, waiting for the perfect moment to Start a business searching endlessly for the ideal partner or holding back on a dream because you're afraid of failing. But here's a truth that might be hard to accept. Perfection doesn't exist. It's an illusion, a mirage that keeps us running in circles, waiting for something that will never come. The Stoics understood this well. They knew that chasing perfection leads only to frustration, wasted time, and missed opportunities. Life isn't a straight path where everything unfolds neatly and predictably. It's chaotic, unpredictable, and filled with setbacks. But that's not something to fear, because it's the challenges, the mistakes, and even the failures that shape us the most. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself, "I'll start when I'm ready," only to find that you never actually feel ready? The truth is, waiting for flawless conditions is just another form of procrastination. The best time to begin is now, with whatever tools, knowledge, and skills you currently have. The Stoic secret to progress is simple: take action. Act despite the uncertainty, despite the imperfections. Growth doesn't happen in the comfort of over-planning. It happens through experience, through trial and error. There's a reason why the greatest thinkers and doers of history didn't wait for the perfect moment. They seized the moment they had and made the best of it. There's an old story about a pottery teacher who divided his class into two groups. One group was told they would be graded on quality. They had to create just one perfect pot. The other was graded on quantity. They simply had to make as many pots as possible. At the end of the course, the students who made the most pots also produced the highest quality ones. Why? Because they didn't waste time obsessing over perfection. They practiced, experimented, failed, and improved. Meanwhile, the students who aimed for one flawless pot spent too much time hesitating, overthinking, and in the end, had little to show for their efforts. This is how life works. Perfectionism isn't a sign of high standards. It's often just fear in disguise. It convinces you that you're never good enough, that your work isn't ready, that you need just a little more time. But in reality, the more you wait, the more opportunities slip away. The same lesson can be seen in the world of business. How many entrepreneurs have built successful companies, not because they had the perfect plan, but because they took imperfect action? Some of the most well-known businesses today started as rough ideas, launched before they were ready. They improved along the way, adjusting, adapting, and refining their strategies through real-world experience. Had they waited for perfection, they never would have started at all. The truth is, perfectionism is one of the biggest killers of potential. It's the reason books never get written, businesses never get started, and ideas never turn into reality. Because perfection is just a clever disguise for fear, the fear of failure, the fear of criticism, the fear of not being enough. But here's something to consider. What's worse? Failing, learning, and growing? Or never trying at all and living with regret? Look around. Every success story is built on imperfection. The most successful entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, and thinkers didn't start with perfection. They started with what they had. They made mistakes, learned, adjusted, and kept moving forward. The path wasn't straight, and it certainly wasn't flawless. But that's what made the journey meaningful. Instead of aiming for perfection, shift your focus to progress. Every small step you take, every lesson you learn, brings you closer to where you want to be. Success isn't about avoiding mistakes, it's about using them as stepping stones. So stop waiting. Stop hesitating. Take that first step today, no matter how imperfect it may seem. Trust that you will figure things out as you go. Because once you let go of the need for perfection, you free yourself from unnecessary stress and unlock the power of momentum. The reality is, life rewards those who take action, not those who wait for perfect conditions. You don't need everything to be perfect to move forward, you just need to start. And that, my friend, is one of the greatest Stoic secrets to living a fulfilling, meaningful life. Number 5. Success requires sacrifices. Success doesn't simply land in your lap. It's something you earn through relentless effort, unwavering discipline, and most importantly, sacrifice. We all dream of success, the financial freedom, the recognition, the ability to live life on our own terms. But what most people fail to acknowledge is the price that comes with it. Every great achievement requires trade-offs. Whether it's time, comfort, or temporary pleasures, success demands that you give up something in the present to gain something greater in the future. The Stoics understood this well. Epictetus once said, "No great thing is created suddenly." And he was right. Whether you're pursuing a career, mastering a skill, or striving for personal growth, there are no shortcuts. Real success is built through years of effort, persistence, and a willingness to endure discomfort. Yet, how often do we say we want success, but hesitate when it's time to make the sacrifices that come with it? We want to get in shape, but we don't want to wake up early to work out. We want financial stability, but we don't want to cut back on unnecessary spending. We want to achieve our dreams, but we struggle to give up distractions that keep us stuck. The truth is, success isn't just about talent or luck. It's about what you're willing to sacrifice to get to where you want to be. And sacrifice isn't just about working harder or sleeping less. It's about making the tough decisions that many people aren't willing to make. It means cutting out the habits, relationships, and mindsets that no longer serve you. It means saying no to short-term gratification so that you can say yes to long-term fulfillment. The Stoics believed that life is about making choices that align with a higher purpose, and modern Stoicism reinforces that idea. Every sacrifice you make should bring you closer to what truly matters. But have you ever taken a step back and asked yourself, what distractions are keeping me from my goals? What comforts am I holding on to that are preventing me from reaching my full potential? It's easy to blame external circumstances for a lack of progress, but success is often a matter of priorities. Are you willing to give up temporary pleasure for something greater? Are you willing to stay disciplined even when motivation fades? The road to success isn't glamorous, it's filled with difficult choices, long nights, and moments of doubt. But if you stay committed, those sacrifices will pay off in ways you never imagined. And here's a hard truth. Sacrifice doesn't just shape your success, it shapes you. It builds resilience, patience, and the kind of inner strength that makes success truly meaningful. Think about an entrepreneur who starts with nothing. They sacrifice weekends, social events, and sometimes even financial security to bring their vision to life. Or an athlete who trains for years, pushing through exhaustion and pain, just for a single moment of victory. These sacrifices are tough, but they are necessary. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't just skill. It's the willingness to endure hardship when others quit. And in today's world of instant gratification, where we expect results overnight, it's even harder to stay the course. But modern Stoicism reminds us that true success comes not from seeking pleasure, but from the pursuit of something greater than ourselves. The question is, what are you willing to sacrifice for your success? More importantly, when the journey gets difficult, when the excitement fades and doubt creeps in, will you have the strength to keep going? Because in the end, success isn't about what you wish for. It's about what you're willing to work for. Number 6. Pain is necessary. Pain is something we all try to avoid, yet it is one of life's greatest teachers. No one escapes suffering, whether it comes in the form of loss, failure, heartbreak, or hardship. Yet while pain is inevitable, how we respond to it determines who we become. The Stoics understood that adversity is not an obstacle, but a pathway to growth. Seneca wisely stated, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." Just as a blacksmith tempers steel through fire, we are shaped by the pain we endure. Instead of fearing it, we must learn to see pain as a necessary force that refines us, sharpens our character, and makes us more resilient. When we run from pain, we also run from the lessons it has to offer. Think about the athlete who pushes through grueling training sessions, enduring discomfort to build endurance and strength. Without that struggle, there is no progress. The same is true for life's hardships. The challenges you face, losing, a loved one failing at something important, experiencing rejection are not punishments. They are opportunities for transformation. Without pain, we would remain stagnant, never forced to confront our weaknesses or develop the strength needed to overcome life's greatest trials. Pain teaches us humility, patience, and resilience, but only if we allow it to. In today's world, we are conditioned to seek comfort and avoid discomfort at all costs. We numb our pain with distractions, social media, entertainment, material possessions, hoping to escape the discomfort of reality. But avoidance only prolongs suffering. True freedom comes when you face your pain head-on, acknowledging it and using it as fuel for growth. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught that suffering itself does not harm us. What harms us is our refusal to accept and learn from it. When you see pain as an inevitable part of life, you stop fighting it and start using it. Every hardship, every setback, every moment of suffering is an opportunity to strengthen your mind and spirit. Think of Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who faced war, betrayal, and personal tragedy, yet remained steadfast. He believed that every obstacle, no matter how painful, could be turned into a stepping stone for growth. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This is one of the great Stoic secrets, understanding that suffering is not something to escape, but something to harness. The next time you feel overwhelmed by pain, ask yourself, what can this moment teach me? Instead of resisting, lean into it. Let it shape you. Let it refine you. Pain is a signal that something needs to change, a reminder that life is always pushing us forward, even when we resist. Personal loss, for example, often brings profound grief, but it also forces us to reflect on what truly matters. When someone we love is gone, we are reminded of the impermanence of life, of the need to cherish every moment. Pain strips away illusions and reveals what is essential. It is through the struggles of life that we find meaning. This is why the Stoics practiced amor fati, the love of fate, the belief that everything, including suffering, should be embraced as part of our journey. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me, ask, how can I use this? This shift in mindset is what separates those who are crushed by adversity from those who rise above it. When we stop fearing pain and start seeing it as a tool for growth, we reclaim control over our lives. It is easy to wish for a life without suffering, but a painless life is an empty one. Growth, wisdom, and strength are forged through struggle. The strongest trees are those that have endured the harshest storms, and the same is true for us. When you accept that pain is necessary, you stop seeing it as an enemy and start using it as an ally. The next time you are faced with hardship, remember that pain does not define you. Your response to it does. Stoic secrets remind us that the path to happiness is not the avoidance of pain, but the mastery of it. You are stronger than you think, and every moment of suffering is a chance to prove it. You've made it this far because you understand that true strength comes from facing life's hardships head-on. Pain is not here to break you, it's here to shape you. Let's embrace this wisdom together. Leave a comment saying, "Pain fuels my growth," to show that you are ready to transform adversity into strength. Your journey toward resilience and wisdom is just beginning. Stay connected because even more powerful lessons are on the way. Number 7. Change is inevitable. Change is inevitable, an unrelenting force that shapes our lives whether we welcome it or not. It arrives without warning, disrupting our carefully laid plans, dismantling our comfort zones, and forcing us to confront the unknown. We often resist it, clinging to what is familiar, but resistance only leads to suffering. The Stoics understood this fundamental truth and taught that rather than fearing change, we should embrace it with wisdom and resilience. No man steps in the same river twice, for it is not the same river, and he is not the same man, said Heraclitus, a philosophy that aligns with Stoic thought. Life is a river that never stops flowing, and the more we fight against its current, the more exhausted and frustrated we become. But if we learn to navigate its waters, adjusting our course rather than resisting, we find that change can lead us to places we never imagined possible. Consider a scenario in the workplace. After years of familiarity, a new boss arrives with different expectations and an unfamiliar leadership style. The instinctive reaction may be frustration, resentment, or even fear, as old routines suddenly seem irrelevant. Yet resisting change only breeds stress and stagnation. On the other hand, adapting to new dynamics can open doors to professional growth, unexpected opportunities, and even greater success. This principle extends beyond the office into every aspect of life, whether it's moving to a new city, adjusting to a changing relationship, or keeping pace with rapid technological advancements. Growth does not happen in stillness. It emerges from our ability to evolve. The discomfort of change often comes from our deep attachment to what we know. We equate familiarity with security, even when it no longer serves us. A person who loses a long-held job may initially see it as a devastating setback. But if they shift their perspective, this moment of upheaval can become a powerful catalyst for reinvention. What seems like an ending can be a beginning if we are willing to see it that way. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, captured this idea when he said, "Observe constantly that all things take place by change, and accustom yourself to consider that nature's greatest delight is to change existing things, and to make new ones like them." Even in the most personal aspects of life, change is an unavoidable reality. Watching our children grow up, realizing our own aging, or seeing loved ones move in and out of our lives, these transformations remind us that nothing is permanent. Instead of mourning what once was, we can choose to celebrate what is and remain open to what will be. Those who resist change find themselves trapped in nostalgia or regret, unable to move forward. But those who embrace it develop resilience, adaptability, and a deeper appreciation for the present moment. Change is not something to fear. It is a force that reveals our hidden strengths and forces us to grow. In today's world, where modern Stoicism is more relevant than ever, the ability to accept change has become a crucial skill. The rapid evolution of technology, shifting job markets, and the unpredictability of global events have made adaptability essential. Those who rigidly cling to old ways often find themselves frustrated and left behind, while those who remain open to transformation thrive. This does not mean that change is always easy. Far from it. But when you recognize that it is an inevitable part of existence, you begin to see it not as an adversary but as a teacher. Life does not ask if you are ready. It simply moves forward, and the choice is yours whether to resist or to evolve. In the end, we cannot control change itself, but we can control how we respond to it. If we see it as something to fear, it will feel like an endless series of losses. But if we learn to see change as an opportunity, we will find growth in every transition. Modern Stoicism teaches us that life is not about avoiding change. It is about learning to move with it, to adapt without losing ourselves, and to use every shift as a stepping stone to something greater. When you stop fearing change and start embracing it, you realize that the most powerful transformation is not what happens around you, but what happens within you. Number 8. Life won't always be fair. I used to believe that if I worked hard, did the right thing, and treated people well, life would reward me fairly. Maybe you felt the same, expecting that effort will always lead to recognition, that kindness will always be repaid, or that justice will naturally prevail. But here's a truth that might be difficult to accept. Life won't always be fair. The world doesn't operate on a system of perfect balance where everyone gets what they deserve. Hard work doesn't always get acknowledged. Honesty isn't always rewarded, and sometimes those who cut corners seem to get ahead. The Stoics understood this reality well. They taught that expecting life to be fair is a guaranteed path to frustration and resentment. Instead of wasting energy lamenting injustice, they focused on what they could control: their actions, their mindset, and their response to adversity. Imagine dedicating years to a company, putting in extra hours, exceeding expectations, only to watch someone less competent get the promotion you deserved. It stings. The first instinct is to dwell on the unfairness, to let bitterness take over, and to question whether effort is even worth it. But ask yourself, does resentment change anything? Does anger undo the injustice? The answer is no. Complaining won't fix it, but taking action might. You can either let unfairness consume you or use it as fuel to become stronger, smarter, and more resilient. Life's unfair moments can be the greatest tests of character. Think about the athlete who trains relentlessly, only to be overlooked. For the championship team, some would give up, but the ones who persist, who push through rejection, often come back stronger than ever. The entrepreneur whose first business collapses due to circumstances beyond their control might feel cheated by fate. But if they channel that frustration into learning, adapting, and trying again, their next venture could be even greater. Unfairness, as painful as it is, often forces growth in ways that comfort never could. It teaches resilience, patience, and the ability to navigate an unpredictable world without losing ourselves in bitterness. Stoic secrets remind us that we don't control external events, only our interpretation and response to them. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, was born a slave. He experienced injustice in its most brutal form, yet he never allowed bitterness to define him. He didn't waste time cursing his fate. He used every hardship to strengthen his mind, proving that no unfair circumstance could dictate his worth. His life serves as proof that while life may not always be fair, inner strength is always within our reach. Accepting that unfairness exists doesn't mean surrendering to it. It doesn't mean tolerating mistreatment or giving up on justice. It means understanding that the world isn't always predictable, and sometimes things won't go our way despite our best efforts. But instead of dwelling on what should have been, we can focus on what we can do next. Do we adapt, pivot, and grow? Or do we let resentment hold us back? The choice is always ours. The strongest people aren't the ones who avoid injustice, but the ones who refuse to let it break them. Justice may not always come in the way we expect, but those who persist, who keep pushing forward despite unfairness, often find success in ways they never imagined. In the end, fairness is just an illusion, but our response to it is real. And that, my friend, is one of the most powerful Stoic secrets to living a life of strength, resilience, and true fulfillment. Number 9. Your limits are self-imposed. The limits you believe define you are often nothing more than illusions, shadows cast by fear, self-doubt, and past experiences. We convince ourselves that we aren't capable of certain things, that we don't have the talent, the intelligence, or the opportunities to achieve more. But the truth is, most of these limits are self-imposed. They exist not because they are real, but because we have accepted them as real. The mind is a powerful force, and when you let fear dictate your actions, you build walls around yourself that don't actually exist. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Yet, how often do we forget that? How often do we allow the fear of failure, the fear of judgment, or the fear of the unknown to keep us trapped in the same place? How often do we tell ourselves, "I can't," before we've even tried? One of the biggest traps we fall into is comparison. We look at others who seem more successful, more skilled, or more confident, and we assume they have something we don't. But what if the only real difference between them and us is that they refused to accept limitations, that they pushed forward, even when it was uncomfortable? Modern Stoicism reminds us that the only battle that truly matters is the one within ourselves. If you are constantly measuring your worth based on someone else's journey, you will always feel limited, because you are chasing a reality that was never meant to be yours. Instead of asking, why am I not where they are? Ask, what is stopping me from becoming the best version of myself? More often than not, the answer isn't external, it's internal. It's the voice inside your head that says you aren't ready, that you aren't good enough, that you will fail. But what if that voice is lying to you? What if every limit you have believed in was just a story you told yourself? Think about the last time you stepped outside of your comfort zone. Maybe it was trying something new, speaking up when you usually stay silent, or challenging yourself in ways that made you nervous. Growth never happens inside the walls of comfort. It happens in the discomfort, in the struggle, in the moments when you feel uncertain but choose to move forward anyway. The Stoics believe that we grow through hardship, not ease. We choose what is safe because it feels familiar, and in doing so, we unknowingly limit our own potential. But here's the truth. Every time you push beyond what you thought was possible, you expand your own boundaries. What once felt impossible becomes achievable, and what once seemed like a limit disappears entirely. The words you use matter. How often do you say, I can't, without even considering if you actually can? What if instead of saying, I can't, you said, I can try? That shift alone is powerful. It turns a mental barrier into an opportunity. It opens the door to growth instead of slamming it shut before you've even started. The only way to break through self-imposed limits is to challenge them, to act despite fear, to do the thing you think you can't do, even if you fail the first time, because every failure is proof that you tried, and every attempt is proof that your limits were never real to begin with. So, what's holding you back? Is it really your circumstances, or is it the story you've been telling yourself about what you can and cannot do? Modern Stoicism teaches us that we are not prisoners of our past, our fears, or our doubts. We are only prisoners if we choose to be. If you want to live without limits, you must first be willing to question the ones you have accepted for too long, because in the end, the only thing standing between you and the life you want is the belief that you can't have it. And that belief, that's the real illusion. So, are you ready to break free? Let me ask you this. If you're ready to break free from the limits you've placed on yourself, to challenge the doubts that have held you back, and to take control of your own potential, then take action now. Like this video and comment below. No limits, no excuses. Because the only thing standing between you and the life you want isn't a real barrier, it's a belief, and beliefs can be changed. Number 10. Make failure. Your friend failure is one of life's greatest teachers, yet we fear it, avoid it, and sometimes let it stop us from ever trying. The Stoics understood that failure is not a sign of weakness, but a stepping stone to mastery. Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Every setback carries the potential for growth, revealing what needs improvement. Thomas Edison, after thousands of failed attempts, famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Had he given up, the world might have remained in darkness longer. This principle applies to every aspect of life, whether in business, personal development, or relationships. Failure isn't a verdict on your worth, it's valuable feedback. The key is to shift your perspective. Instead of seeing failure as something to fear, view it as a guide that points you toward success. In sports, teams that lose don't quit. They study their mistakes and return stronger. In business, a failed venture doesn't mean the idea was worthless. It simply means adjustments are needed. Even in relationships, heartbreak teaches us about our needs, values, and boundaries. But this only happens if we allow ourselves to learn. Too often, people let failure define them rather than shape them. They internalize it, seeing it as proof of inadequacy, when in reality, failure is just information, a signal that something must change. Epictetus, the great Stoic teacher, emphasized that setbacks only harm us if we allow them to. The most successful people in history, entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, didn't avoid failure. They embraced it, learned from it, and kept going. Some of the world's greatest success stories began with failure. Walt Disney was fired for lacking imagination. J.K. Rowling was rejected by multiple publishers before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon. Steve Jobs was pushed out of his own company, only to return and revolutionize technology. These people didn't let failure define them. They used it as a catalyst for growth. The real tragedy isn't failing. It's never trying at all. As Marcus Aurelius put it, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." Fear of failure keeps people stuck in unfulfilling jobs, unsatisfying relationships, and lives filled with regret. But failure itself is neutral. It only holds power over you if you let it. The Stoics believed that failure is not an obstacle but a redirection, pushing you toward something better. Many people who were fired later describe it as the best thing that ever happened to them because it forced them to pursue a more meaningful path. What seems like an ending is often just the beginning of something greater. The harsh truth is, no one achieves success without first facing failure. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't talent or luck. It's the willingness to keep going despite setbacks. This is one of the Stoic secrets that separates the extraordinary from the ordinary. If you can embrace failure, analyze it, and use it to improve, you'll see that failure was never the problem. It was always the path. The next time you fail, don't ask, "Why did this happen to me?" Instead ask, "What can this teach me?" Your response to failure determines everything. Master this truth, and you unlock the key to resilience, wisdom, and ultimately, success. Number 11. Escape the comfort zone. The comfort zone is a deceptively dangerous place. It lulls you into a sense of security, wrapping you in familiarity and predictability, yet beneath its surface, your potential slowly withers. It is where dreams fade, ambitions stagnate, and personal growth halts. We often stay in our comfort zones not because we are truly happy, but because we fear the unknown. The mind clings to what is easy, avoiding discomfort as if it were something to be feared. Yet every great achievement, every moment of true transformation, lies just beyond the boundaries of what feels safe. The Stoics understood this well. They believed that hardship was not an obstacle but a necessity for growth. If you never push yourself beyond what is comfortable, you will never discover the full extent of your abilities. Think about someone who has worked the same job for decades, never challenging themselves, never learning new skills. They may feel secure, but over time, complacency takes hold. Then suddenly change arrives, a company restructuring, new technology replacing their methods, an economic downturn. Those who have remained in their comfort zones find themselves unprepared, their once reliable world crumbling around them. On the other hand, those who consistently push themselves, learning, evolving, and taking risks, are far more adaptable. They do not just survive change, they thrive in it. This is the essence of modern Stoicism: to accept that life is unpredictable and to prepare for it by embracing discomfort. Growth requires struggle. A weightlifter does not build strength by lifting what is easy. They must push their muscles to the limit, breaking them down so they can rebuild even stronger. The same principle applies to every aspect of life. A person afraid of public speaking will never improve by avoiding it. They must stand on the stage, face their fear, and learn from the experience. Those who fear failure never reach success, because success is built on a foundation of failed attempts, lessons learned, and resilience developed. The discomfort of the unknown is not a reason to retreat. It is a sign that progress is happening. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, ruled Rome during times of immense hardship. He faced war, disease, and betrayal, yet he did not seek an easy life. He understood that obstacles were not barriers, but the very thing that made him stronger. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way, he wrote in Meditations. This means that the very challenges you fear are the ones that will forge you into a stronger, wiser version of yourself. If you avoid difficulty, you remain unchanged, but if you confront it, you evolve. The modern world, with its ever-changing economy, advancing technology, and social shifts, rewards those who are willing to adapt. Those who embrace the discomfort of learning new skills, taking on new challenges, and stepping into uncertainty, position themselves not just for survival, but for success. The greatest rewards in life come from taking risks. Moving to a new city, starting a business, changing careers, or pursuing a long-held passion, all require stepping into the unknown. At first, the discomfort feels overwhelming, but over time, what was once foreign becomes familiar, and what was once difficult becomes second nature. Then, a new comfort zone forms, and the process begins again. This is how personal evolution works, by constantly expanding the limits of what you believe is possible. The key is to recognize that fear is not a stop sign. It is an invitation to grow, to learn, to become something greater than you are today. If you wish to live a life of meaning and fulfillment, you must make peace with discomfort. Staying in your comfort zone may feel safe, but safety is not the same as happiness. Comfort offers temporary ease, but it leads to long-term stagnation. Discomfort, on the other hand, is the gateway to transformation. The choice is yours. Remain where you are and stay the same, or embrace the unknown and discover who you truly are. Modern Stoicism teaches us that life's greatest moments are not found in what is easy, but in the challenges that shape us. And when you finally step beyond the walls of your comfort zone, you will realize something profound, that the life you have always wanted was waiting for you on the other side of fear. Number 12. Your inner dialogue is your secret weapon. I used to believe that the biggest obstacles in life were external, the circumstances, the challenges, the unpredictable setbacks. But the more I learned, the more I realized that the greatest battle we ever fight is within our own minds. Your inner dialogue is your most powerful weapon or your most destructive enemy. Every thought you repeat to yourself, every word you use when speaking to yourself is shaping the person you become. If your mind is filled with doubt, fear, and self-criticism, then you will struggle to take action, hesitate when opportunities arise, and ultimately limit your own potential. But if you train your inner voice to be one of resilience, wisdom, and strength, then no challenge, no matter how difficult, will break you. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This truth applies not only to external events, but to the conversations we have with ourselves. If you constantly tell yourself, "I'm not good enough, I always fail," or "I'll never get what I want," then you are reinforcing a mindset of defeat. And when you expect failure, you unknowingly act in ways that bring it to life. But what if you changed the way you spoke to yourself? What if, instead of tearing yourself down, you said, "I am learning. I can figure this out," or "I've survived tough times before, and I will again"? The words you feed your mind determine how you show up in the world. Think about someone about to walk into a high-stakes job interview. If they tell themselves, "I'll probably mess up, I don't deserve this," or "I'm not good enough," that doubt will weigh on them, affecting their confidence and energy. But if they shift their inner dialogue, "I am prepared, I am capable, I can handle this," they step into that room differently. The outcome may not always be perfect, but they've put themselves in the best position to succeed. This is not about false optimism or ignoring reality. Stoicism does not teach delusion. It teaches mastery over our minds. It is about recognizing that while we cannot control every event in life, we can always control our response. And that response begins with how we talk to ourselves. Every person you admire, every success story you've heard, began with someone who refused to let their own doubts defeat them. Consider an athlete training for years, facing setbacks, injuries, and failures along the way. If they let every mistake define them, they would never push forward. But the great ones, the ones who rise above, train not just their bodies but their minds. They learn to say, "That loss does not define me. I will come back stronger." The same applies to you. No matter where you are in life, no matter what you've faced, your mind can either be your greatest asset or your biggest obstacle. You wouldn't let someone else speak to you with cruelty and constant criticism, so why allow your own thoughts to do the same? If you want to change your life, start by changing how you speak to yourself. Train your mind the way you would train a muscle, consciously, consistently, and with discipline. Catch yourself when you fall into negative self-talk. Reframe your thoughts and choose words that empower rather than weaken you. This won't make life easy, but it will make you unbreakable. And in the end, strength of mind is the greatest weapon you can carry. The Stoics knew this, that the path to a strong, resilient, and fulfilled life begins with mastering the voice inside your own head. And that, my friend, is one of the most valuable Stoic secrets you will ever learn. If you've made it this far in the video, I encourage you to comment "Ironclad Mind" below. This is a great way to show that you are embracing the power of your inner dialogue and taking steps toward mastering your mind. Your thoughts shape your reality, and by reinforcing a mindset of resilience and strength, you are already on the path to becoming unshakable. Let me know in the comments. Thank you for being part of this journey, and I hope this lesson helps you build an unbreakable mindset on your path to Stoicism. And that's the power of embracing these 12 harsh truths, each one a stepping stone to a life of resilience, wisdom, and true happiness. The path of self-growth isn't always comfortable, but as Stoicism teaches us, the quality of our lives is shaped by how we respond to challenges, not by avoiding them. By applying these lessons, you take control of your mindset, free yourself from unnecessary suffering, and move closer to a life of purpose and fulfillment. Modern Stoicism offers us the tools to navigate adversity with strength, while Stoic secrets remind us that true happiness comes from within. If this video resonated with you, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Stoic in Your Life. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss our next deep dive into Stoic wisdom. Now the question is, will you take the first step toward embracing these truths, or will you keep resisting the reality that could set you free? The choice is yours.